and working in the concept status?
Well, I think a lot of our base kind of guidelining principles of what we wanted to do, we had established at BlizzCon, and we talked about a lot of stuff at BlizzCon. What we didn't have were details. We didn't really know exactly how it was going to work. We knew that you could build a building, and we wanted to have it give you a buff or give you a power-up. Over time, we really felt like that wasn't enough. You know, the buildings really are the core of what you're doing. You're getting to build these buildings, they give you abilities, they change your gameplay. As we got more into the details, we realized that we really have to sink a lot of effort into that. So when you build a building, there's an NPC there that's offering you a quest right away, and that quest sends you off into the world to do some sort of gameplay you've never done before. You're chopping down trees, you know, you're going off into different areas, and you're driving a vehicle in any zone in the game. Things like that we haven't been able to do before, and that's really what the buildings give us access to. So we spent a lot of time there, and then we also just spent a lot of time trying to make it feel right. Originally, the Garrison was really big, and we had a lot of NPCs, and we got a lot of feedback that felt odd. You know, it was kind of big, it was hard to navigate. It didn't feel like your own. It didn't feel like something I had established. Maybe someone else did, and I just showed up. So we took that feedback to heart. We've really tried to squish them down and make them feel like a place that's homey, but you get to pick to put that big barracks or that big mage tower or whatever you want, you know, somewhere in the Garrison. I think that's really paid off. We've seen solid feedback on those changes, and, you know, keep the feedback coming. You know, we're going to keep integrating on that stuff.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of time integrating the Garrison into all the other zones with the outposts, like we just talked about. Quest givers that you meet out in the field might come back to your Garrison as followers, so that it really feels like your Garrison's part of the world, not like a separate feature, but something that you're constantly building up on.
100%.
Awesome. Real quick, let's go ahead and check back over on Twitter and see what people are asking about garrisons. This question actually comes from Ann Stickney from WoW Insider. She asks, can you explain how professions work and exactly what their purpose is in Warlords, particularly in regards to garrison buildings?
That is an awesome question. It's a question I see in the forums all the time. I see it on Twitter. And it's something that's pretty different for this expansion. It's probably the biggest change we've made to professions that I can remember in an expansion. Essentially, the concept is you're going to be able to build a building for every profession. You can choose to build that building whether you know that profession or you don't. So let's take blacksmithing, for example. If you are a blacksmith, building that building offers you benefits that are really great. Number one, you're going to be able to make a daily cooldown that's much quicker than you would have had before. So if you want to build a really epic item, you'd be able to build that item in half the time someone else would. It also is going to offer you access to the highest tier recipes that you can get in blacksmithing. So let's say you're not a blacksmith, but you really want to make armor and weapons. You think that's super cool. You can build a blacksmith, and you'll have an NPC there that can craft those items for you. That guy just can't craft the absolute best items, right? And you're also not going to have access to 2 daily cooldowns. You'll get the 1 for having the building, so you can make really great stuff, just not as fast as an actual blacksmith would be able to do it. And that applies to all the professions across the board. So we've got motivations for you to actually have the building if you know that profession, but also, you know, there's really good motivation there to have the building if you don't. Maybe you want some alchemy potions. So you have access to a pretty wide variety of alchemy potions, but you can still keep, you know, blacksmithing and mining as your 2 main professions.
Awesome. A lot more flexibility with professions.
And that's just the profession part, right? All the buildings also offer, at level 2, they offer a really cool, unique perk that you would get if you can slot a follower into that building. You get like a unique bonus. So for blacksmithing, for example, you get one called Song of the Anvil that lets you actually not get wear and tear damage on you. It's a 4-hour buff. You can get it at the blacksmith building, head out, run a dungeon, get no wear and tear damage. While you have the buff, you've got a chance that you'll proc a little blacksmithing elemental, and it'll come in and help you fight. And all the buildings have a unique little thing like that set up with them.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and grab one more question from Twitter real quick. This one comes from Swirly Ball, who says, how does inviting someone to my garrison work? Can they use the portals I've unlocked in my Spirit Lodge?
Another awesome question. It's something that we've heard a lot about, you know, how is the garrison going to work with other people, things like that. Essentially, we've tried to make it really simple where it works with the party system. So if you have other people in your party, there's an option. You can right-click on your portrait and choose which garrison you want to go to. Go to the party leader's garrison. So me and Dave are in a group, you know, want to go to Dave's garrison. You know, he can flip that switch, and when we walk into his garrison, let's say he has the mage tower. He's got a portal open to Nagrand, which is where one of our raid zones are. High Mall. The whole guild could come with us, you know, and go through that portal and go out to High Mall through that portal, and we could have access to that benefit. We could also see, what buildings Dave has made. We've got a concept of monuments. Monuments unlock based on achievements. So it's kind of like the ultimate kind of, way to show that Dave has done something and show it off to his friends. So when we go into his garrison, we would see all his monuments. Things like that. We've tried to really push it so that every benefit you get, you can share as much as you can. One pretty cool one, the trading post building has the option to build an auction house robot.
Oh, awesome.
So there's a little quest. We send you out into the world. You collect about 20 different pieces from dungeons, from zones, all over the place. Put them all together. You can access the auction house. So then, anyone in the guild could come and do that from that area.
Now, the other cool thing about inviting your friends over is periodically your garrison will get invaded.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty cool. Some of the bad guys in Draenor are going to come storming at your garrison. All of your followers, if you've equipped them, they're going to be out there fighting. You're going to be fighting. And you can invite your friends in to help you fight off the invasion. So you can have all your buddies come to your garrison and help fight off the
That's a feature we've put a lot of work into. There's 6 or 7 different invasions. Every time they play out, they're different. They're using our new kind of AI technology that we have where we can random things up. So sometimes they'll attack buildings, sometimes they'll attack your walls, sometimes they'll kidnap followers and take them away. So every time you do an invasion, it's a little bit different. It's a pretty cool system. It works kind of like the challenge dungeons where we actually grade you and give you a bronze, silver, or gold medal so you can get better rewards based on how good you do it. So it's a good idea to get your friends in with you, and do that with more people because you probably have a better chance at doing better at it and everyone will get those better rewards.
Awesome. So looking back to the leveling experience a bit, obviously the garrison is a huge part of the leveling experience, but there's a lot of other stuff that's going on as well. Like there's rare mobs, there's treasures, all sorts of stuff actually just going on and hanging out in the world. What can you tell us about those?
Yeah, that's actually one of our big pushes with Warlords of Draenor. We did a little bit of this in Pandaria. You might remember as you were exploring Pandaria, you might find a treasure. They were pretty rare, but we like that idea. We like that the world felt more dynamic, more active. So we've spent a lot of time in Warlords of Draenor, and if you're playing in the beta or when it comes out, you can see this. You can really feel it. There's much more happening on the map all around you. There's lots of rare spawns. There's lots of rare bosses. Lots of treasures hidden in little niches and nooks. So we really reward you for exploring. It also breaks up the questing a lot. It's a much more sort of open field. There's areas that just sort of have dynamic objectives that pop up when you come there. So there's just lots to do, lots more to do to kind of break up your gameplay.
Get you off that normal path.
Right.
It's not just quest to quest. Head off, grab this treasure, maybe I end up in a canyon, there's a rare mob down there.
Get some buddies together, everybody starts grouping up on that guy. Yeah. So it feels a lot more dynamic, and that's pretty exciting for us. And that carries on all the way up to max level, and definitely at max level, all those areas are really dynamic.
Yeah. Awesome. And all the questing is all there still too. This is just extra stuff on top of that.
Exactly. I mean, the questing won't feel that different other than it'll feel like there's more going on around you.
So while you're out, killing a killing ogres or whatever, you come across a treasure chest, you come across a rare mob.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing.
We've had a lot of time to really work on our core quest system. We really like where that's at. This is really adding some pepper and some spice to help break up those moments.
Right.
And then each zone actually has like a max level area set aside, right? How does that work?
So that's something, again, we were looking at from Mist of Pandaria. We like having a lot of max level content to do once your character levels up. So we thought that was good in Pandaria, but we also looked at the ways to do it. A whole bunch of daily quests that just felt a little too repetitive. No, it didn't really scratch the itch for us. And you saw we experimented in Pandaria with a lot of different things. In 5.3, we had the Battlefield Barons. In 5.4, we introduced the Timeless Isle. And I think the Timeless Isle, it probably feels the closest to what these max level zones feel like. They're very dynamic. There's lots of different rare spawns. There's lots of different stuff there that'll happen, that'll trigger off. And instead of being given sort of directed quests, you're given a choice at your garrison every day. There's a couple areas they need help with all around the world. And we send you to that area, and you can do anything in that area, killing mobs, gathering stuff, rescuing prisoners. Yeah, you fill up a bar on the bottom of your screen to kind of, and so it's up to you what you do. And some of those areas are max level group areas, kind of like the Dinosaur Island on Pandaria, because we love
a wide variety of difficulties, so you can choose. If you can find a few friends, you can do the hard stuff one night, but another night you could solo that.
If you're really into PvP, you also have the option of doing PvP stuff.
Ashran's included in that rotation.
Exactly.
Sometimes we'll send you there.
So a lot of variety in max level. We really want it to feel like you can be doing this every day and you always see something different. And because it's spread out all around the world, because there's all the zones have a max level area, those choices you made that we talked about, which garrison buildings you build in your outposts, that's affecting your max level gameplay. And if you build the stables, you can get ride mounts in combat on top of your mount. That kind of thing. Those decisions you made during level up come to play in max level.